Hello, and welcome to this episode. Today, we're talking about how you can create a positive and thriving work environment for yourself. And you're probably asking this question if you are currently working in a place that you find toxic and that is increasingly becoming detrimental to your mental health. I know this question came up when I was chatting with a colleague, and they were just telling me about how much their workplace has become such a headache for them in the past 6 months. And whilst they know that they can look around for other opportunities, they know that in the long run, they need to stay in this place and gain more experience. It is just where they need to be. So if that's you right now and you want to know how you can turn this situation around and actually create a positive work environment for yourself, then definitely continue watching. We're gonna start with questions because I find that questions are such a powerful way of uncovering your own motives and really uncovering the motivation for you to keep going. The first question is, why are you there where you are? So I remember for me years back when I felt like the work environment was becoming increasingly negative and toxic for me, I really had to ask myself why I was there. What was my vision when it came to my career? How long do you actually want to be in this place for? So for you, you can ask yourself what your vision is. I usually go through this with my clients through a process called life visioning, where you start with what it is you want your life to look like and then paint that picture and then work backwards from there. When it comes to the picture of life that you want to actually live, how does your current workplace fit in the bigger scheme of things? So you're probably in your particular work environment to gain a particular work experience, which is the number one reason why you applied for that job and you got into that role. But as time goes by, we forget the reason why we actually got into the position we are in right now. And you just remembering that, you know what, I need this experience on my portfolio because this is what I'm here to gain. And this is how long for I need for me to get there. It will help you have a big picture perspective of the vision that you have. And that vision will help reframe how you are actually viewing your work environment, because maybe there are not many other companies that can supply you with the particular work experience that you're actually there for at this particular time. Take some time to journal this down. So write down, why am I here? How long do I want to be here for? How does my work experience here fit into my bigger life vision? Where do I want to go? Because you really want to do everything that you do with a vision. There has to be a reason for what you're doing. It's not just to pay the bills. It's not just to tick your resume that you are bums on seats or that you're earning money. There has to be a bigger picture vision for the reason why you're there, and just take some time reconnecting, writing it down. Another great place for you to find the reason why you're there is to just reflect at the time when you looked for that particular job. Ask yourself what was happening in your life. Ask yourself how you came to that decision, because I'm sure there were many other companies and opportunities that you were also considering before you settled on this one. Take yourself back there and just reflect on what was happening back there and try and remember, because then it will show you why you are where you are. Number 2 is, what is the bigger purpose of the organization and what is the common goal, or what is the common purpose of your team? When you start thinking outside the box, or when you start looking outside the box at impact, because the purpose of the goal has to do with the kind of impact that you want to make within the organization, within the team, and reconnecting with that goal will really help reframe what you're focusing on as well. So ask yourself, when I'm looking at this organization, what is this bigger purpose? Maybe the purpose of the organization is to end world hunger. Maybe the purpose of that organization is to bring better health outcomes to the city that you're working in, like if it's in the health sector. Maybe if it's finance, it's about bringing financial freedom to the clients that you work with, or maybe it's financial education to millennials or baby boomers, whatever the organization does, it's very important to actually really reconnect with the purpose. Because if you are feeling like the work environment and the people around you have become negative and toxic, there's also a high chance that you're putting an elevated amount of attention and focus on people rather than the outcome that you are there to achieve. And I want you to actually go back and reconnect with the bigger purpose, the bigger goal of the organization, reconnect with the purpose of the team, so that you know why you are there. You're not there to make friends, you're not there to have a good time, you are there to make impact and to achieve a particular vision and goal and outcome of the team. And here's the thing, when others are sitting there complaining about the work environment, if you are proactive about reconnecting with the purpose and vision of the goal of the team and of the organization, you set yourself up for success. All of a sudden opportunities will start opening up for you. You get a promotion, you get an opportunity to go do something different in a different location. All these things start happening because you're now focusing and channeling your energy on the bigger picture, of the organization and that of the team as well. Number 3 is, remember that you can't change others, you can only change yourself. So you have probably found yourself in a situation where you're trying to change other people and how they treat you, but other people and how they treat you is really outside your sphere of control. Whilst there are policies and procedures, I'm sure, in your organization that tell people how to behave, I'm sure there's still those bad apples that behave outside of this sphere. And if you're not their direct manager and you're not directly influential when it comes to their behavior, then it's important for you to acknowledge that the only person's behavior you can change is yourself. So I really want you to zoom in the lens on yourself, right? Are you that person who at work you're usually backbiting other people, and as a result other people are backbiting you? Or are you that person who always sits on the back bench and then you complain about what is happening in the team without you proactively coming up with solutions? Like in my experience, I've learned that people come to work for different reasons, and some people just come to work hell-bent on complaining and pointing out all the negative things that are happening. So I really would love for you to start zooming in on yourself and really looking at your own behavior. How is your own behavior contributing to the toxic work environment that you are now experiencing? Because you might be so surprised that if we ran a survey at your current company of how people are coping or how people find the environment, other people are happy there, they love the place, they'll never quit, and then other people are like, oh my gosh, I hate this place, I don't like this place. So really zoom in on how you're complaining. Are you backbiting others? How are you showing up yourself, right? Because it won't make sense for me to start telling you about how to change others when probably you yourself are behaving in a way that is helping to create this negative and toxic work environment. I've seen it even within myself over the years. I've seen that when I just start complaining and not looking for solutions, I know that usually my time is coming up at that company. Maybe I'm ready for a new opportunity. That is why I'm just becoming so negative when it comes to how I view the company and how I view my teammates. And I'm not saying that is the case with you, but just in case it is the case with you, just take a nice good look at yourself. Just take a nice good look at how you yourself are showing up and how the way you're showing up is contributing to what you're experiencing. Number 4 is teach others how to treat you. For example, know the office politics. Definitely know the office politics, but don't engage in gossip. And I know for me, when I started out, this was a standard I set for myself. I was like, you know what, I am a Zimbabwean living in Australia. I'm very easy to identify in a workplace. Like I'm very easy to identify because any typical workplace here in Australia is predominantly made up of Australian people. So if I engage in gossip, it's really easy for people to identify me. And this was way back when I was starting out in my career when I decided this. So it's like if I engage in gossip, then if someone else went to spread that gossip, it's so easy for them to be like, yeah, Lorraine did that because I'm easily identifiable. And even if you're not easily identifiable in a workplace, know the politics. Be that person who is wise. You know the politics around the company, but don't engage in gossip because it might come back to bite you in the ass. And that's one of the biggest ways that a workplace turns toxic and negative around you, because then you start thinking, you start suspecting that other people are talking about you behind your back, but also you start undermining your own work and your own value. You start to lose trust within yourself because you're thinking that other people are undermining you. So you start undermining yourself. It just becomes this negative, vicious cycle. So don't do it. Be that person. You're savvy. You know what's going on behind the scenes, but you're not that active workplace gossiper. Because if you notice something, those people who gossip a lot, they rarely stay in the workplace long. They're not the most engaged employees. Opportunities come up, but they rarely would be placed in that place where they're promoted because they're just not good for leadership. If you're engaging in all this gossiping, you're really displaying that you're not capable as a leader. Like, how would you behave if you were in a management role? You definitely would not be gossiping about other people, because if a manager is gossiping in a workplace, that is just such a big red flag, and it's such a sign of poor leadership, because then it means they're probably taking sides and then they're spreading information that is not accurate. So don't be that person who's there gossiping about other people. Number 5 is be a positive team player. It's so important to be a positive team player. No matter how you're feeling, no matter what's happening, be that person who brings light and who brings hope to the team. I have seen that. I love it. I love it so much when I rock up at work and there's this amazing positive team that is working together, because even the day goes by quickly, you achieve amazing outcomes, even your clients are happy with the service that you're giving because you're really positive. And it brings out even the purpose of why you're doing something, because you're not just doing something. Again, people don't go to work in order to get paid. If they did, people would not be quitting their jobs. People come to work in order to make a positive impact. So be that ray of hope, be that ray of light in the team, that when someone comes into work, they see you, they're like, oh, I'm so happy I'm here. And part of the reason why I say this is because we don't know what our co-workers or what team members are going through in their personal lives. Some people have anxiety and depression. Some people have suffered marginalization, and they come to work, and for them, it's a place of refuge. They just want to be there in order to make a difference. So when you show up as a positive teammate, you don't know who you're giving hope to. You don't know the kind of change you're influencing or impacting on someone else's life. So be that person who is the ray of hope in the team. Even if you feel like the environment has become negative, be that person who's bringing hope to transform it to become positive. Next thing is check how you give or receive negative feedback. It's not so much about the positive feedback, like, hey, Lorraine, you've done well. How do you give and how do you actually receive negative feedback? There are times when we perform poorly and it's important to give other people feedback. How do you actually give this feedback? I know for me, there are times when I will give feedback in the middle of when I'm angry, and then I'll just pass on negative feedback, and I'll be like, I should have written that email, I should have delayed sending it, and then I should have sent it later. And you know what? I'm not saying we are perfect. I know I'm not perfect, right? And I know that maybe for every 4 emails that I would rather send in anger, I kind of stop and I'll just maybe send Maybe one out of those four. So I'm not there yet where I'm like, oh, every time I give feedback it's in a positive way. I'm not there yet, right? But even for you, I'm not saying be perfect, but be aware of it and work on it. Like if you're that person who gives negative feedback in such a negative and stormy and angry way 5 times, maybe cut it down and say, you know what, this week I'm just going to aim to send it 3 times in a negative way. Because even if feedback is negative, you can reframe it. So you can use the sandwich model, give someone some positive feedback about what they're doing right, put in the negative feedback that you want to pass, and then end it off with, oh, you know what, I just want to appreciate you for this. So in that way, someone has something to work off from. They're not feeling as if they're a failure, or they've done this negative thing and it's bad and that sort of thing. So check how you actually give others negative feedback and check how you receive it as well. Many times, not many times, every day, in order for us to improve and grow, we need to receive negative feedback. Are you that person who does not like receiving negative feedback? I call negative feedback constructive criticism. It's meant to help you. It's meant to build you. It's not meant to tear you down or to undermine the work that you're doing. It's really meant to help you grow to the next level. So become that person who is in love with receiving feedback that is constructive, because then it helps to build you, inform you, it challenges you, it shows you where your blind spots are, and it shows you the areas in which you need to improve. Fall in love with that. Even fall in love with people who give you feedback that is constructive, because then you know that, this person can see my weakness and they're going to help me grow. Feedback is such an important thing. Maybe sometimes you might be saying, oh, my work environment is toxic, because someone has approached you wanting to give you feedback, and you have just been there saying, you know what, no, that person is segregating me, that person is marginalizing me, or this person is doing this to me because they're giving me that kind of feedback, when really that person is just helping you grow. So I really want you to take that look at yourself and say, okay, how are people helping me grow? And that is how you should always view negative feedback or constructive criticism. How is this feedback helping me grow? So then that person becomes a positive person, because they're really wanting to helping you grow. Of course, if that feedback is misconstrued, or you feel like it's untrue, it's unfounded, that's a different thing altogether. And if you feel like, okay, you know what, yes, this person is giving me feedback, but this feedback is inaccurate and it's misconstrued, then you can actually ask to have a conversation with that person and say, you know what, help me understand this in a better light, and start off by thanking them. Thank you so much for giving me this feedback. Help me understand it better. Because you know what, life is too short for us to be bickering in the workplace. You really want to have an amazing time wherever you are, because we spend most of our work lives, we spend most of our time at work, or commuting to work, or getting ready for work, or after work, winding down from work. So it's really important that you're having a positive experience in the workplace, and you can create this for yourself by the person that you're showing up as. Show up as that person who's positive. Show up as the person who's constructive. Build the team that you want to be. Build the team that you want to see. Even if you're not in a management role, just assume that you are. Be a default leader in the team, even if you're not. Model that positive culture, model those positive behaviors, and before you know it, you create an environment that you want to be, and other people will start seeking you out. They'll start complimenting you. They'll start just creating opportunities for you. Maybe you even move to a different organization that really fosters and values the expertise and the experience that you bring to the team. But whatever you do, have this positive outlook that you can create the work environment that you want to be in.